Take a look at this picture. It's meant to be a floating Silicon Valley, sort of. In the words of its CEO, it is a boat for entrepreneurs from around the world who want to start companies in Silicon Valley, but are currently unable to do so because of our antiquated visa system. Even though it will be just half an hour from Half Moon Bay, California, which is half an hour from Silicon Valley, Blue Seed, the name of the project and the boat, will be in international waters. And so you wouldn't need an American visa to work on it. Who knows if this will ever come to fruition, but what it does demonstrate is how frustrated American entrepreneurs are with our immigration system. The U.S. is projected to have 2.8 million job openings in science, engineering, and math-related fields by 2018. Nearly 800,000 of them will require a master's degree or higher. But only 550,000 American-born graduates will have the training to fill those jobs. Now, we can't even talk about our legal immigration system because any reform has been held up by those who first insist we must solve the illegal immigration problem. But a funny thing has happened on the way to the immigration crisis. Immigrants have stopped coming here. Well, that's an exaggeration, but the Pew Hispanic Center recently issued a report stating the net migration flow from Mexico to the United States has stopped and may have reversed. In other words, more people may be going back to Mexico than are coming to the U.S. So for all the money we spend on fences and drones at the border, we may be fighting the last war. The one we need to tackle is the skills war with the rest of the world. Yes. And it's one we're losing. Part of the problem is that we have an immigration system that is broken. It does too many of the wrong things and not enough of the right ones. And the rest of the world is catching up. Canada and Australia now have smart immigration policies that take in talented foreigners who have the skills the countries need and the determination and drive to succeed. As a result, they've transformed themselves into immigrant societies with a foreign-born population that is higher than the United States. Australia, which only 15 years ago had strong strains of nativism and xenophobia dominating its political culture, now has over a quarter of its population foreign-born, double America's share. And it is thriving because of the economic growth and cultural diversity this brings. Canada's foreign-born population is almost 20%. Ours is 13%, just a little higher than Great Britain's. We are not the world's only, nor even the largest immigrant society anymore. So what to do? Well, most experts would agree with the following approach. We should craft legislation that deals once and for all with the problem of existing illegal immigrants, deporting those with any criminal record and giving legal papers to the others. Their path to citizenship, however, should be long, behind all regular applicants, probably a process that would take 15 years, during which they would have to pay taxes and stay crime-free. Then, we would reduce the number, currently 75% of all immigrants, who come in because they have been sponsored by a legal immigrant. We would increase the number of immigrants with skills we need. We would also make some orderly provision for temporary workers who pick crops or fruit in California during the harvesting season, but then back to Mexico or Central America when the season is over. Ideally, such a bill would be bipartisan, sponsored by a prominent Republican and Democrat. And of course, it would need presidential support to get it off the ground. Now, here's the tragedy. We had such a bill. It was sponsored by John McCain and Ted Kennedy. It was strongly supported by President George W. Bush. And it couldn't even come to a vote. The far right hated the provisions that provided a legal path for the undocumented workers. The left opposed the shift to skills-based immigration, and the unions opposed the temporary worker provisions. That fact that the extremes hated it would have been evidence that it was broad and bipartisan, and in an earlier time, that would have helped it pass. Today, power has shifted to the wings of the party, and the lead sponsor of the bill, John McCain, now denounces his own handiwork. The failure of immigration reform is a metaphor for the breakdown of the political process. We have to compromise, But that isn't going to happen anytime soon. It's sad because America remains the place that the world looks to as the global melting pot, the place where a universal nation is being created. We may not do immigration that well anymore, but we do assimilation better than anyone. People from all over the world come to this country and almost magically become Americans. We, come to this country with drive and determination, and we develop over time a fierce love for America. And this infusion of talent, diversity, hard work, and patriotism is what has kept America vital for these last 2 centuries. If we can renew it, it will keep America vital for the next century as well. Thanks for tuning into this GPS